And welcome everybody. Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong thing.
The Eagles. He's already switched for 3-1. He's an Eagles fan, Manny. What's happening here, dude?
Very funny. Great. This is the best.
Screw it.
Let's go.
It's the best blooper. Okay.
Manny,
Hello, everybody.
You gotta really fix that for us, brother.
Yeah. Welcome to the Pulse of Fins Nation, not Eagles flying. I'm running through the producer booth today, and that's Manny's background. So that's why everybody's wondering, why is he an Eagle today? No, I did not switch to the Eagles. That is Manny's team only still. This is the Pulse of Fins Nation. I am Louis Song. This is Ron Caniff. Manny's hiding in the background there.
We need to make that the thumbnail. We're going to make it the thumbnail.
And Alfredo Artiaga, who is currently in the chat, he might pop in a little bit later. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so
Pulse of Eagles Nation.
It doesn't.
You know what? We needed a little humor to start it. We needed a little humor after the.
It does not have
the
the
Dolphins
same ring.
have gone
It doesn't have the same ring to it, though. It really doesn't.
No.
Pulse of Eagles Nation. That extra syllable just ruins the whole thing. All right. Anyway, so since I got us off to a very awkward start, let me go ahead and get us back on track by making sure to plug our sponsor, PrizePicks.com. It's the revolutionary fantasy platform where you pick up to 5 different players across professional sports leagues. You can choose the NFL, you can choose the MLB, you can choose the NBA, which, by the way, has returned. Make sure you stick to 5 Reasons Sports for that. You can choose one player of each league, or you can choose all the leagues and combine. Choose which the over, the under on those individual players' fantasy projections, individual stats, classic fantasy point projections. It's up to you to decide. You have those options, and they will often give you freebie picks. Like, for instance, the one time I finally managed to win was Tom Brady having to throw only 1 yard, which I don't foresee ever not being the case. It's hard to justify not signing up. Use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you initially sign up. Again, that is promo code 5, FIVE, prizepicks.com, and we are proud as the 5 Reasons Sports Network to have them as our sponsors. So, Cap for life. Yes, 100% sign-up bonus. Only roll it over once. Alfredo, always a good guy for the prize picks. I need to get myself one of those prize picks hacks so that way I can just stick my head in like Alf does, being able to show off to everybody the prizepicks.com. And Cap for Life, thank you once again for joining us. Always good to have you on the show, even if you end up calling me on the carpet a lot. That's okay. I don't mind. That's what this show is all about. It is about you, the fans. And boy, oh boy, we have a lot of stuff to talk about, Ron. The fans have a right to be fired up, especially after what happened this past week against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I guess you could argue we're still kind of talking about the Buffalo Bills given the circumstances.
Yeah, I suppose we don't need to be, we shouldn't be, but we are.
Yeah, because let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way right off the bat, because I want to be able to talk about other stuff other than just this all day long. And I'm sure we'll revisit it if when Alf gets in here as well. The Tua Tagovailoa concussion story that has been blown up beyond all recognition. All of a sudden, every single media pundit in all of recorded history is suddenly very concerned about Tua Tagovailoa's well-being. Never mind the fact that you are absolutely ripping on him all season long, coming up with literally every excuse under the sun to not give him any sort of credit for the plays that he was making. Oh, it was a depleted Bills team. Oh, it was a depleted Ravens team. Oh, it was just the freaking New England Patriots with no offense whatsoever. Freaking ever. He's not a big arm quarterback. Actually, no, he is a big arm quarterback because you see those big plays. Blabbity, blabbity, blah. And yeah, Cap for life. I feel like I got my medical degree after this past weekend. Yeah, everybody's a neurosurgeon nowadays. Funny how that works, huh? And everybody, like the only guy who I would actually trust with some level of brain surgery type knowledge, our good friend Danny Martinez, or at least my good friend Danny Martinez. And he's out there tweeting that all this stuff is reasonable, but nobody listens to him because it doesn't have anything to do with the narrative. And quite frankly, it's honestly annoying. That's the soft word I'll use, is annoying, to see how everybody suddenly comes up to the plate for Tua, how the Miami Dolphins wronged him, how Mike McDaniel doesn't really care about him. I'm like, are you serious right now? Are we really doing this? Are we really going to sit there and pretend that because Tua Tagovailoa ended up getting concussed against the Bengals? By the way, that turf field, I'm going to start going with our good friend Jakari, who's also on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Turf needs to die. It really, really does. Please just pay for the grass. It can't cost that much. I really, really doesn't. You're a multi-bazillionaire. You can pay for some grass for your fields.
Miami actually owns land where they grow the grass themselves. Like that's how serious they are about taking care of the field and making a good field to play on.
That's a nice cushion, though. It's a lot easier to fall on grass than it is to fall under the concrete that's underneath that.
I'm not blaming the turf, though. There's plenty of stadiums. With
plenty of flame to go around. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it's like just make it a little easier on the players, huh? It's not like they have a lot to go off of.
So
What's up, Manny?
you expect these teams to play in the north to just have grass and it's fine? I mean, the weather changes, it's not going to affect anything.
They're just make new grass, Manny. Like what the heck?
They replace the grass all the time.
It's an outdoor stadium. The grass is going to have snow and water and rain regardless. Like if it's turf, if it's grass, it doesn't matter.
Then cushion the turf somehow. I don't know, man.
It's
2022.
Bro,
we have ingenuity. Man. We have super rocket scientists getting ready to go to Mars, and we can't make softer turf.
Bro, this is the National Football League. They're gonna want to save money whichever way they want to, even though they'll have $1 billion more every single year. The freaking year league happens. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm just saying. No. I'm being real. Come on. They had a damn Super Bowl in New York a couple of years ago. Like they're not gonna make this whole notion teams that don't have real grass in the north.
That's not the overall narrative, Manny. But it's just like it helps. Every little bit helps. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
So anyway, so I already see comments coming in from Perfect Q, one of them, with all the media trolls and haters wanting to see the Dolphins and Tua fail. It's important to ignore their fake concerns and opinions. We got to shut the noise out. Ideally, I would love to do that. I would basically love to be able to say, yes, and Alfredo's talking about the Eagles having grass. I'm sure he'll say it out loud when he gets on.
Is he talking about the stadium or?
No, we're talking about the actual field where Trevor Lawrence.
Were you talking about the field? I wasn't sure.
The football 5 times on grass this weekend.
I wasn't sure what he meant by Eagles have grass.
Okay, so anyway, I would love to be able to just shut the noise out, but here's the problem: the noise is not going away. The noise is very much like staying around the team, and I am concerned. And this is something that was actually brought up on the 3 yards per carry podcast. I believe it was from. I think it was Simon who said it. And by the way, this last episode of 3 yards per carry, if you have not listened to it, it is hysterical. I busted a gut on my way to work this morning just from Simon doing what he was doing.
Like a couple hours ago, making fun of CK's microphone.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to spoil how it sounded. You just got to go listen to it.
Just got to go listen.
Like, get the whole family together and just listen to Simon talk for half an hour. But anyway, I really don't want to think this way. And I know, Ron, we were in another group chat, and you were basically telling me that I was looking into it a little too deeply. But I am seriously concerned that this is going to come back and bite Miami in the tail. Like I feel like that somebody's going to have to take the fall, and it's going to have to be more than this so-called independent doctor who was hostile during the investigation process. I think that they're going to look at the Dolphins and say, listen, the optics are terrible. You said that it was a back injury. He looked woozy. Everybody was saying he was concussed and that you lied about it, that Tua lied about it, that now this independent doctor that we just fired, by the way, lied about it. And
the NFLPA fired, by the way.
Okay, the NFLPA
unilaterally, because they're allowed to do that.
Okay, that's fine. Whatever you want to say. Again, this is why
the NFLPA isn't the NFL. I think this is where people get concerned.
Right.
The NFLPA isn't the NFL, and the NFLPA already did their slapstick investigation about the first time before the Cincinnati game, and nothing came of that.
No, I understand.
You know what I mean? And people think, oh, the NFLPA. Ooh, the NFLPA is not the NFL. Like, I could go on and on about the NFLPA, and I don't want to make this an hour-long show about them. No, they're not the NFL. They're there to try and pretend like they're in the players' corner when we can point to 20 things that show they're not. They're just using this to make a statement, to make a point, but they're never really in the player's corner, and they're in money's corner. Now that's just the way it is.
I mean,
that's the way it's always been.
I mean, the whole league is that way, Ron. But the problem is that I'm having, again, it's the optics, it's the PR. It's being blown up to even CNN was covering this.
Yeah, we'll never.
Fox
we'll
News
never
and CNN were both covering this like it was national news coverage. So it's like, at what point are the NFL going to be like, you know what, we're going to have to step in here. We're just going to have to punish the Dolphins again. That's my biggest fear, that they're going to somehow find a way to pin something on Miami, even if it's not even true.
What about
and what are they going to do? Appeal
in the Bucs game on Monday night, right? What about Brate? We saw him clearly woozy and go back in the game. What's the difference?
The difference
I
is
don't
that
understand.
the difference is that
The difference is that it's Miami. It's the Miami Dolphins.
It's Miami
That's
Dolphins.
difference.
A and B.
That's
He didn't look woozy
nope.
in last game either.
The difference is it's the Miami Dolphins. Stop. That's it. That's the only difference. It's the Miami Dolphins. That's where all the national media loves to just pound and pound and pound and pound on us because it's an awesome way to drive clicks.
No, it definitely is.
Whatever.
I understand that completely. I just hope that nothing else comes out of this. Cap for life. Why can't the field be made out of memory foam? I think that might be pushing it just a little, just a little bit. Perfect cue. If the NFLPA wants to get the Dolphins, the Finns have plenty of evidence against the NFL. T. Higgins, Mike Vinka Fitzpatrick, Cameron Brate, Teddy Bridgewater, all came back after concussions. Hey, did you see the story, Ron, about Rob Gronkowski saying that he had 20 different concussions, and then he came back, he blacked out 5 times, and he still
blacked out 5 times. Yep,
exactly. Where's your tweet, Ron? Manny, this is actually the first tweet we're actually going to read now. Pull up Ron's tweet here real quick because I want to be able to bring that up because all these coaches and former coaches now are getting up on their high horse and talking about, oh my God, this is so unprecedented. I can't believe the Miami Dolphins would do such a horrible thing. The word of the day is hypocrisy. When you hear the word, scream it real loud. Ah! That's what I say.
Rex Ryan was the first one that just made me laugh. The moment I saw his comments, I instantly flashed back to 2012 in a third week preseason game where he'd already sat his starters and was mad that he was losing and put Sanchez back in the game, and Sanchez got hurt. Yeah, you're all about player safety, bro. Give me a freaking break. Bill Belichick, come on, man. Give me a break. I'm just glad people got receipts for all this stuff. All these people saying this, they can instantly just be, oh yeah, well, what about when you did this? What about when you did this? What about when you did this? It's just never ending. They just need to be quiet. They're complete hypocrites. I mean, beyond hypocrites. It's ridiculous.
Well, we were just listening to the doctor's advice. I'm like, the same ones the Dolphins listen to? For real, man. It's like only the Dolphins can get punished for doing what they're supposed to do,
for following the protocols and doing everything within the protocols, and they're the only ones that are going to get hammered for it. Unreal.
They get unlucky with optics, bro. It's this. If
hey, we just need to get used to it. It's fine. We just need to get used to it. The Dolphins are we're gonna smash the Jets. So sorry, spoiler alert. We're gonna smash the Jets even with Teddy, and then we're gonna get Tua back, and then we're gonna beat the overrated Minnesota Vikings, and then we're gonna start clicking off those wins one by one in that softer part of the schedule. And when we're sitting there at 9-1 or 10-1, I can't wait to see the reaction of the bullcrap media and all the haters. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
If I'm an independent neurologist, I'm suing the NFL for many millions. They have a great case.
Oh yeah. He has a check about this big coming to him and a 1-page NDA that he'll be signing because that person's going to make plenty of money off being fired for, just to make it look good. Cause that's what the NFLPA does.
And Cap for Life says there's a possibility we end up 3rd place in the division. We need to tighten up and not take this game lightly. Okay. For the record, it's not that I'm taking the game too lightly. I understand it's a division game. It's something you always have to be concerned, especially because of how important these kinds of games are. I cannot begin to stress that I am sure that the Miami Dolphins are absolutely feeling the desire to go out there and perform like they've never performed before. I'm sure that they hear all the noise, that they are angry, they are upset. This is Mike McDaniel. This is not Brian Flores, where there's no Twitter allowed and everybody has their TVs off. Mike McDaniel is like, he's in the know. He knows everything that's happening. In fact, he uses that. He literally goes out there in the locker room and said, they all said we couldn't do it. Who are they? All these pundits who keep saying that the Dolphins can't do anything. Of course they know. Of course they are seeing everything. I am sure that these Miami Dolphins are fired up. They are determined to win, not just for themselves, but also for Tua, who, by the way, is still getting pummeled in all of this. Because somehow now they're saying, oh, well, Tua doesn't have his own best interests at heart because he went back in the game anyway, and he should have admitted that he was concussed and blah, blah, blah. So somehow you're actually still managing to blame Tua. Some people are. Good grief. Like, get over yourselves. All right. Manny, let's get another tweet up in here. So let's see if maybe we can turn the tide away from the concussion stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Because,
if there are any tweets that don't include that.
If it's even possible. So Jersey Finn Fan 2, by the way, Jersey Finn Fan, the first ended up getting suspended, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what he did.
Yeah, he probably said something positive about Tua. You're not allowed to do that.
There you go.
Primarily, he hopes Tua is truly okay for his personal health and well-being. So do we all. Understand that. We all hope that Tua is okay. It sounds like he is. So let's see how long it takes for him to get back. Hoping for him to get better ASAP and return to play like he wants to, but without added risk. It's the NFL. There's risk. I wanted to take the time he needs. I'm just saying I want his return to be successful. So let's just take this into account. Just how bad was the injury? Obviously, when we saw it, I was at the studio on WSFL 39, the only station that had the game locally. And I'll be honest, like the whole mood of what I was going to talk about when I went on that camera completely changed the moment I saw that. And I was like, oh my God, this is how I'm going to make my television
what happens when you're media, man. You got to react to it live.
Yeah, it's like that. And I thought to myself, this is how I'm going to make my television debut.
Man. Yeah, I know that actually sucks. I'm sorry that's how you made your TV debut. But
yeah, it was just like, God, man, like I can't talk. Even if the Dolphins had lost, I would have been like, okay, well, we can bounce back from it. It's like the whole mood of the whole area just went. It felt it from the stadium outward. It just sunk. Like you couldn't even breathe knowing what was going on. It's like, I don't want to watch football anymore. But with that being said, so obviously the injury is apparently, it looked a lot worse than it actually was, I guess, because they did the MRIs. There was no actual damage. Obviously, that doesn't account for the actual concussion. Obviously, he is concussed. There's no question about that at this point. But he went to the same trauma center that took care of Ryan Shazier in very good hands. They discharged him pretty darn quickly. He was able to fly home with the same night with the team.
They had to have discharged him within a few hours.
Like, albeit with the neck brace on, which I understand. Again, precaution, great, understood. He's now taking part in the investigation. He also is able to he seems to be doing well. He's smiling, according to Tyreek Hill. He seems to be doing well. Obviously, he's out for the Jets game. I don't mind that whatsoever. And honestly, if he ended up staying out for the game after that, I also wouldn't be upset. Maybe we can get a Teddy Bridgewater revenge game, revenge games.
Here's what I don't want. I don't want the Dolphins holding Tua out because they feel they have to because of the investigation, because of the media, because it'll look bad. If he was under any other circumstance ready to play in that Minnesota game, they need to play him and everyone else can kiss our ass. Seriously. Okay. Do not keep him out of that Minnesota game only because of what happened in the whole media fire and because Goodell picked up the phone and asked you to. That's what I don't want to see Miami do. So if he is out, it needs to be because he's simply not ready, hasn't passed the protocol, or his back's not ready, whatever it might be. I just want to make sure. We'll never know, unfortunately. We have no way to know if they would do that or not. I'm just concerned that might happen.
So how long would you be willing to have him be out before you start getting suspicious that's what they're doing?
No way to answer that question. I'm suspicious for the Jets game. I'll be honest with you. I'm suspicious for the Jets game, but makes sense that he's out. Obviously, I guess he's still having a few symptoms from what I know, but I don't know for sure. The Miami's very hush-hush on all injury stuff, as they have been all year, this being no different. So I have no way to know that, Lewis. I'm just concerned that that's going to happen.
Oh, no. Well, honestly, because, again, concussions are such a difficult thing to diagnose. Like, you can't.
Yeah, we're not doctors.
Yeah, we're not doctors. I know who is, but I wish I could get him on the show, but I can't.
I'm not here to diagnose Tua on.
Yeah, we have enough of those already.
Yeah, we have enough Twitter doctors.
Yeah,
I'll be part of the 3% of people on Twitter who aren't doctors. Yeah, and aren't educated and expertise, don't have enough expertise to comment on Tua's health.
May I just say this one comment? Yes, we're not all doctors, and I'm not here to say that the team did this or the league did this or Tua did this. But as far as I know from me watching on the television set, the moment he went down against Buffalo and you saw after 3-4 seconds he stumbled, I knew he wasn't himself. Now, again, we all have a right to say, oh, right away, he shouldn't be playing, right? We all have this thing in our minds because we're human. It's instant reaction. Oh, there's no way he'll literally.
Oh no, we all thought that, Manny. Nobody thought he was going back in.
So when I hear fans tell me, "Oh, he's fine," I'm like, "But you saw the replay how he fell." Like, listen, I never played quarterback. I played high school football, and I knew that when I was a lineman. I got blitzed in the A gap. I got two big boys that ran me over. My head went off the floor. I literally got up and I fell. I knew I was not right at all, right? I'm not relating, but I knew myself that I wasn't right. My head had just bounced off the turf. His did as well. Okay, so when he stumbles and falls, like, I don't want fans to tell me, oh, well, he was fine. He wasn't fine.
His play in the second half, though, doesn't indicate that he had any kind of effect.
Correct, and that's what I think.
And quarterback's a very cerebral position.
Oh, nothing happened, so it's fine. Just because, listen, Tua could have gone on there and done 20 for 20 for 4 touchdowns. He's still a human. His head still bounced off the turf. You can't sit there and tell me that he's fully 100%.
When you watch that, though, his back hit a lot harder than his head. However, we know that your back can, can hit our. I'm trying to remember. The player. Right, it might have been Mike Vick. You're Vick, right, towards the end of his career, he got smashed.
Yes, if you're right, because if you recall last Tuesday, what was the injury report from the NFL Network? It was his back, right?
Yeah, it was back. That was the official injury.
Yeah.
Back, and he had some kind of ankle thing.
Correct. So my only point is, don't tell me that nothing happened. Listen, like something did, whether it's head or his back. Obviously we all saw what happened on Thursday, and we could all make instant reactions to it. But
was there anybody Manny, was there really anyone saying that Tua was not hurt at all? Like, I thought it was just a matter of whether his head or his back.
I realized, Lewis, on Thursday night, the real people in this world compared to the ones that were not. Because people were either making fun of it, people were either laughing about it, or other people were like, oh, he's fine, just like he was on Sunday. Like, it is just like, the first words out of anybody's mouth when that play occurred was, I hope Tua is freaking okay. That's it. It shouldn't be the Dolphins are to blame or this. No, you're no doctor. You're not working for the league, right? And if the NFLPA goes down and they fired, what was it? The
UNC
that was there.
The NFLPA.
There's a reason for that. That doesn't mean that the Dolphins did wrong.
But they're saying that he was fired because he was kind of a little bit more of belligerence and some stuff in the past,
and then was defensive about it.
And then he was defensive, and then there was other stuff that happened before this.
He wasn't hired by the team. The league does this.
No, the league does that.
The league does this. The Dolphins have no say on who they want on their staff when it comes to things like that. It's the NFLPA and themselves. That's all I wanted to say, because some of these fans, man, you guys want to put on a hat and act like you're the damn commissioner here. You're not. You're just a regular fan like me, Ron, and Lewis. Just when that play again happens to anybody in this league, we should be praying for the player's health and not immediately judge to action. I'm sorry. I was just really
like regular fan like me and you, Manny. Lewis has been on TV now.
Okay, no, don't do that. No,
he's big timing us.
No,
and I'll be doing this show by myself.
Listen,
apparently halfway through the year.
Apparently, I'm on TV, but you know what? Alf has like double and triple my followers.
Guys, this is This is Mike McDaniel's first coaching tenure. Come on.
Yeah, they already know that.
Mike McDaniel.
He want to sacrifice his first ever job in something that he dreamed of doing for a player. To just say, oh, he just let him back in because his job was on the line. Get the hell out of here with that shit. Excuse my French. Come on. There's so many reputations on the line here. Like, come on.
You know why, Manny? You know why they're like that? Because they already see that McDaniel knows what he's doing, and they don't like the idea of the Dolphins suddenly becoming a threat in the league again.
We tried to get Brady and Sean Payton. It didn't work out. It blew up on our face. We lost picks, and it turned out we were better off anyway.
Hardball came out in defense saying that I forget his exact code of words, but he basically called out the Dolphins however he did. But he seems to quickly forget that Joe Flacco got knocked out by Kiko Alonso, and he played the next week.
Yes, dude. And he got his block knocked off.
What are we doing here? Pointing fingers at one another like you're.
I can't believe that NFL coaches would do that. I don't know if it's them like trying to say, "Don't look here, don't look here."
What up, Alf? I am sorry, Alf. I'm just blowing up since last Thursday.
No, go ahead, Manny. Yeah. Go ahead.
We're out here trying to become doctors all of a sudden instead of worrying about the players' health. Listen, he went back on the plane. He was supposedly he was smiling and laughing. Can we just be excited for
then
that?
They tried to blame the Cincinnati Medical Center too. Then they were trying to say no, they didn't do
What's
their
that,
job.
Al?
Hey,
What's
liquid
that?
death.
That's Liquid Death. Proud
Canned
sponsor of the
water.
3 Yards for Carry podcast.
There we go. Beautiful.
All right,
yeah,
Alf.
that's it, boys. I appreciate it.
So, okay, Manny. Listen, pop back in whenever you want. Alf, you've been listening in on everything going on. You've been listening to me and Ron ramble. You've been listening to Manny go off. What are your thoughts on everything?
I think this is just a progression of where the team is at. Let's face it, a lot of these people, and I've told you who these people are. Okay, they're in the Northeast. They're run by all their producers and all their PAs. They're all from the Northeast. They're all Jet fans. They're all Patriot fans.
Cowboys.
They get the same reports that everybody else at ESPN gets, where their audience comes from. Do you guys know that it's like 27% of ESPN's audience is in the Northeast?
I mean, isn't the ESPN headquarters in Bristol, Connecticut?
Yeah, but I'm talking about their audience. Like they're broadcast everywhere. They got to cater to all those people. Okay, just like Fox Sports, most of their audience is out west.
Yeah, in California.
So they got to cater to Laker fans, Charger fans, to those teams. Okay, so they're
Fortunately, everybody has 5 Reasons Sports to take care of us.
Exactly. That's why I always tell everybody, look, support your local content creators because they're the ones who are going to give you information and they're the ones who are going to talk about your team. And they're not going to talk about your team in a way with snide comments and try to talk them, try to, blow up, fake controversies like they have the last few days. And all you got to do is just watch them. And if you watch them, you know what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is just, try to bury them as much as they can. Hold on. I got a bunch of things popping off right here all of a sudden. All right, there you go. So, just don't pay attention to it. Okay. This is the natural progression for a very, very good team. Okay. First, they completely dismiss you and ignore you. Okay?
It's like the 5 stages of grief. Are we about to do the NFL 5 stages of grief here, Alf?
The Dolphins 5 stages of grief.
These are the four stages of a team being good. Okay. And I saw this happen already with the Miami Heat. Okay. The first stage, all right. The first stage is always complete. They completely ignore you. They don't care who you are. You don't even exist. Okay. That was about 2 years ago. Okay. Then they go on that little winning streak and they're 10-6. And toward the end of the year, the second stage is minor acknowledgement. Oh, they're cute. They won a couple of games, but let's face it, they're garbage. And that's where we were last year. Okay. The third stage is okay. They're okay. They're relevant, which means that they're going to put you at the bottom of every segment. And then the fourth stage is acceptance. Okay, damn it. They're good. Now we got to talk about them. That's where they were a week ago. They're trying to inch their way back to stage 3. And it's the Dolphins' job to just pile on so many wins here in the next 5 or 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That they're just forced to grin and bear it and just take it. Just bite down on their teeth and say, God damn it, this team is good, and now we got to talk about them.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
And we got to completely ignore this 2-9 New England Patriots team or this 3-8 New York Jets team. Okay? So it's up to the Dolphins to do the job, okay? Because I've already told everybody what this is about. And this is why you got to support local content creators. Look, you don't like my podcast? You don't like my podcast? Go support somebody else. Go read the local guys. Go read Barry Jackson. Go watch. Watch.
Okay, but no, watch 3 Yards for Carry.
Yeah, Now I appreciate it. Like if you give us downloads. Look, if you even hate us, just go on our thing and just click down because we get paid for every.
Listen, nobody can hate you. Nobody can hate you guys after this week's episode.
So
that was the
I don't really care if you listen.
Heard.
I don't really care if you listen or not. Just make sure you give us a download. All right. But support your local content creators, even if you don't like us. Okay. Find one that you do like and support them. Don't listen to that garbage on First Take or Fox Sports or whatever or Undisputed. That's all garbage. Like none of those people watch the Dolphins or are actually paying attention to what's happening in the league. They get little cheat sheets to talk about the stupid Cowboys every single week. Okay. The worst thing that ever happened was that Cooper Rush has run off 3 straight wins. Because now you're going to get Cowboys talk up the ass for like the next 10 weeks. Okay? You're not going to be able to turn them off.
Can we trade, or maybe we'll do, can we trade Dak Prescott and let Cooper Rush be the quarterback for the future?
That's going to be, no, they're going to find out. Oh, no, oh my God, forget it. No, Skip Bayless is going to make segments out of that for like the next, for the next
2.5 years.
Yeah, like it's forever. Like, forget it. So support your local content creators. We're the ones who have your best interest at heart, not all this fake concern from all these people. All you had to do is just watch football over the weekend. Look, I mentioned Justin Reed. Does anybody quick look? You guys are pretty informed. You guys watch a lot of football. You guys watch everybody else. Lewis, what happened with Justin Reed this weekend?
It's
okay, Ron.
Cameron Braid.
Okay, Lewis doesn't know.
Guys.
Ron, what happened with Justin Reed this weekend?
I don't know either. Tell us.
Alf, I got a full-time job.
Sorry.
I can't watch football every day.
Hit us with it.
Justin Reed was on the field in the Sunday night game, okay, for the Chiefs, and he left the game with a concussion.
Okay.
And the announcement was he left the game and he is in the concussion protocol. Then he shows up in the third quarter.
Oh, yeah.
And it says,
great.
And he says, he's out of the concussion protocol. He's returned to the action. There was a play where he got absolutely knocked silly. And then he left the game again, and they said, he's in the concussion protocol. So which is it? Okay. So which is it? Well,
wow.
Was he in the concussion protocol, and now he's out of it, and now he's back in? That sounds really familiar to me, right?
Okay.
Oh, my God. Did they actually expose this guy to 2 head traumas in the same game? Did they expose this guy to 2 concussions in this same game? Do they not care about Justin Reed? They only care about Tua Tagovailoa? Why? Is it because he's a quarterback? Get over yourselves. You people are ridiculous and stupid. And the one that look, I like Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico does a really good job as a play-by-play guy. Let me say one thing, and I'm sorry, man. Thursday Night Football, throw that thing into the goddamn sun, man. That whole broadcast is garbage. Everybody there sucks. Al Michaels has completely lost his fastball. Like he can't do the sport anymore. He just can't do the sport. And Kirk Herbstreit has 0 clue about what's going on in the NFL.
Yeah, 0. I don't understand why they chose it. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit's a great college guy, but
he's a great college guy. He knows all the teams. He knows all the players. But my God, I'm not here to say, he should know. Maybe he should know the teams that he's covering, okay, for a national broadcast. But Kirk Herbstreit didn't know what the hell was going on. And it's obvious every single week he doesn't watch the NFL. And it's hard to keep in touch with as much as he does in the college game and then actually know the NFL as well.
I
agree.
That entire broadcast had no idea what to do the moment Tua's play happened. That's also another issue. Okay, let's not also say that it's only the people calling the game. The entire production, they treat it as if it's like this Nintendo thing. Okay, like what the hell are we doing? And then you replay the play so many times. It's like, dude, you have no decency. Is there anybody working in the production truck that's actually a professional freaking producer and actually knows that this is a person whose family can be watching on television? Like, do you know anything?
On television, his mom and dad were there.
I've been there.
Though, like, what is this production?
I've been there. Okay, I no longer want to do it anymore because, quite frankly, I do fine with what I'm doing right now. But the one job I always wanted to do was live sports. And namely boxing or the UFC. Like, that's my dream job, is to be a producer for the UFC or for boxing. Okay. Now, if the zone is calling, you got to pay me, all right? Because I ain't going for like a little bit of money, all right? I don't want that job that bad, all right? But it is common knowledge, if you don't know the injury, which they didn't, you're going to show the play once, and then you're going to show it on slow motion, and you're going to tell people, look, what you're going to see is not pretty, and then that's it. That's it. Because you don't know if the guy freaking died. Mm-hmm. And if he dies like an hour later, you just showed a guy dying on national television like 15 times.
Yep. It was all premature. That entire production was premature.
Like, how is that for optics? An optics nightmare for
real.
Look,
and you don't have to believe me. Watch UFC and watch a knockout in the UFC. It happens. They show the replay once on UFC. Have you ever noticed that when you watch a UFC show and a guy gets knocked out, they show the knockout one time? because they don't know. They just don't know what's happening with that guy afterwards, after he goes to the hospital to get checked out. But I started with Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico in that broadcast, in the same broadcast where that happened with Justin Reed and then happened with Cameron Brate, because Cameron Brate also left the game with a concussion and then returned and then was like doing the Macarena back to the sideline, and they put him back into the game. Okay. Mike Tirico said, I had never seen that before. And it's good to see that the NFL is actually taking care of guys that get a concussion, not letting them back into the same game. Buddy, the game you're doing, it happened twice. You're not paying attention?
He does Notre Dame games. Come on, man.
Yeah, but if I'm there, I'm noticing.
It happened before. Like, what are you talking about?
If I'm noticing, like, if I'm saying, I've never seen that before, and I'm glad that teams are actually taking it seriously, buddy, it happened twice in your game. 2 guys left with concussion protocol. And by the way, where he's sitting at, and we talked about this on the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast, you hear it over the announcement. Every injury, like let's say, God forbid, in fact, I want to make it somebody, non-consequential. All right. Let's say Ethan Carter, broken finger. You'll hear Ethan Carter hand injury, questionable return in the second half. You'll hear it, right? So Mike Tirico is there when he's hearing Justin Reed concussion protocol, has left the game, questionable return.
Oh yeah, no. When I was in the media booth those few times I covered, I heard it every time. It's like so and so is unconscious.
Yeah. But also though, guys like that have headsets, right? And they could also be being told in their ear by a producer in the truck outside, or if there's a spotter next to him, on what's actually happening as well. So he's even getting more information than what everybody else is getting from within the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So he's alert of this. He's definitely alert of this.
And that truck, man, that truck has everything, okay? That truck, you have your sound guy, you have your mixer, you got your commercial guy, you got the guy who has the rundown, who's actually keeping the show on schedule. Then you have the director. Then you have the camera guy, right? And then you have the 2 producers, the AP and the executive producer. So you have like 8 people that can catch that thing. And nobody caught it. They just let it go on the air, But it's just, it's just the silliness of all of this. And that's why, again, support your local content creators. They're the ones who are covering your team. Support them. Support this show.
And that's why we're here. And thank you again, Al, for that little plug right there. All right, Manny, next tweet. Let's see if we can, for real, let's see if we can get away from.
Let's talk about some football.
Yeah, some actual football here. All right. Okay. I guess we're going to stay with it a little longer. Chewbacca. Yeah. Thank God there were games yesterday. This was back on October 3rd. So the national sports talking heads could step down from their high horse and talk about anything else except Tua, except that's not what happened. So let's be real about this. They're still talking about Tua. Okay. They didn't care about other games happening. Obviously, you just pointed it out, Al.
Stephen A. Smith today was like, guys. I still don't like that Mike McDaniel is doubling down. Screw you, man.
It's like, what do you want him to say? I lied and get fired. Yeah. That's what it say. All right, let's talk some football. Woo-hoo! Okay, David Nicholas. Why can't a Mike McDaniel coach running game turn in a really dominant performance? This could be the week to do it. I want to see 30 rushes for 150 plus yards, please. All right.
The answer is because Tua got 2 concussions. No, I'm sorry. That'd be Skip Bayless's answer.
That got it wrong. Serious. All right. But for real though. Could this be the week where they may have to run the ball a little bit more? Maybe they're not as confident in Teddy throwing the football as they are in Tua, which I can understand that. Again, Teddy he's all right as far as backups go. He's not the worst quarterback in the world, not the best quarterback in the world either, but he's serviceable. I think the last game, like he really, really won. Wasn't it Hussam that tweeted out that the last time they won was the Jets? So, not again. He led the Broncos against the Jets. Wasn't that his last start in Denver?
Well, he was 7-7 last year, so.
But he did beat the Jets. The Zach Wilson-led Jets.
Yeah. But I prefer to look back at the Teddy Bridgewater that went 5-0 with the Saints. That's more accurate because that was a good Saints team. This is a really, really good Dolphins team. So he's being handed the keys to a Ferrari here. All he has to do is not crash the thing. Okay?
All right. So with that being said, that means it's good to have some of your coworkers, so to speak, your co-pilots take the ball sometimes. So could the Dolphins put in a really good rushing performance? I don't know. Quinnen Williams, he's having himself one heck of a season, I'm told. And he's definitely starting to come into his own. I was hoping that the Dolphins, do you remember when they were saying that Quinnen Williams could possibly be had for maybe like a 2nd round draft pick, which obviously it was a dream to even think that. But I was thinking to myself, man, if Miami could pull off that trade, could you imagine the defensive line they would have right now? But I don't know. What's the Jets' run defense looking like? I'm gonna go into it on Behind Enemy Lines on Saturday with Antoine Staley, who's now a Jets guy. I'm gonna have to give him some grief about that. But I don't know. Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert. By the way, does it shock anybody that Raheem Mostert is the better running back out of the two so far? At least in my opinion.
No, doesn't surprise me. I think Chase Edmonds, I like him, and I especially like him out of the backfield.
Well, I'm a little mad at him right now.
But I see a little bit of, he's got a little gaskin in him that I haven't seen him break a tackle yet. He just doesn't break tackles. He goes down first hit every time. And I think that's really kind of, suppressed his running numbers, honestly. I'd rather have Mostert doing the bulk of it. It seems like they like to do Mostert from 20 to 20 and then Edmonds inside the red zone, so he's going to get the touchdowns. But I like Mostert to get the bulk of the carries myself.
Yeah, I think you started to see a change in that game, and we talked about this on the podcast. By the way, you were asking, if the Jets have given up anything. Yeah, they give up some rushing yards to Najee Harris. Najee Harris saw a little bit of success. That Steeler team is absolutely god awful, by the way. So that's a freebie.
On the offensive side of the ball, at least they have a decent defense still.
Yeah, but the defense. Yeah, but the problem is that defense is now injured. Okay.
Yeah.
They're
taking
not playing
injuries. Complementary football, even if they have a good defense.
No, their defense is really talented, but they're taking a ton of injuries on that side of the ball. Like that's not the same Steeler team. I think you started to see a little bit of that in that Cincinnati Bengals game. I thought Mike McDaniel went way too conservative in that game, and you could see. I think it was a circumstance of what they were facing on a short week. He wasn't going to chance anything, and
it had to be Alf, because he just didn't coach his normal game. Even before Tua went out, that fourth down,
that was completely out of character.
Yeah, we go for this. I didn't even question that we were going for that fourth down.
Yeah,
I said, our coach goes for this. Watch this, and they kicked the field goal, and I would look like an idiot in front of my friend.
Yeah, it was completely out of character. So, is that going to change? I don't know. Maybe not. I think that he's going to try to get Teddy Bridgewater on schedule. Look, man, they have 10 days. Okay. Mike McDaniel with 10 days to get this team healthy and ready to go. This team was not healthy coming out of that Bengals game. Okay.
Oh, no. Like that team was exhausted going into the Bengals game.
Yeah,
and
it showed. Okay. They really were. I can't believe I thought they played as long as we did.
Yeah, I thought they played a really, really good game. If you think about it, there was 2 minutes left, and they're at the 30-yard line, down 5. You know what I mean? Like, you could reasonably think, like, hey, they win the game right here. All right.
Yeah, I really still thought they were going to win it.
Yeah, I thought they were going to win it too. Yeah. It's just that that play call, man. By the way, the play call would have popped. I don't know if you saw it, but man, if Teddy looks left, these calls are popping these wide receivers wide open.
Yeah.
And it's mostly on those little dig routes, those little dig combo routes. Man, it's, I think they're going to have a good plan, but I think that plan is also going to include a heavy dose of the running game, because they got to get that going. They got to get that going to take pressure off of Tua when he returns and take pressure off of Teddy Bridgewater. But, man, they got the horses, and they got to get the defense healthy. I don't know if you've seen the pressure numbers on Zach Wilson so far this year. It's been very little play, but it was just one game. They're not good.
Oh, no, yeah. Zach Wilson is not like the guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and them who can avoid pressure. Zach Wilson crumbles to pieces.
And they weren't getting the Steelers' best grade A line because of the injuries.
I'm still wondering why people are so high on Zach Wilson, aside from the fact that he apparently can get it on with women much older than he is. But I digress. It's like because
he's smashing cougars. Sorry.
Well,
that was not very proper for this show.
Well,
I couldn't help it though. That's what does Zach Wilson offer, man? Seriously, Joe Flacco can still
answer your question to a lot of Jets fans that I know of. They actually just like his athletic ability, but I've been trying to tell them you can be all types of athletic in this league as a quarterback. If you can throw with accuracy, if you have no touch, if you have no footwork, that's not going to get you anything. And I'm sorry.
You can't read defense.
Doing the Philly special for a touchdown is not going to happen every week. Oh, well, did you see the last drive? Pittsburgh Steelers defense has been reeling for the last 2 weeks. Didn't you see their game against Cleveland? Get out of here with this nonsense.
Listen, Zach Wilson, if that's the case, Zach Wilson is what people think Lamar Jackson is. That's what I say.
Wow. Yeah, not even
Listen
close.
to what I said. That is, Zach Wilson is what people think Lamar Jackson is in a bad way.
Yeah, he has. You could see some of the talent, but it's just not ready. Like you saw it last year when he played against Miami. He looked all right in that game. And then what happened? The pressure started getting to him.
Yeah, exactly. And then he fell to pieces. That's why I'm like, yeah, okay, big deal.
The best part of that team is I think Breece Hall is a legit running back, and like they look legitimate. They lost another right tackle, by the way. They're down 3 right tackles. Okay, this should be a game where they eat. I feel so bad for Jalen Phillips. I know you guys saw him early in the game. He gets a sack, and then he got the sack taken away from him, and they give him half a sack. And then I believe at the end of the game, they give it back to him, right? The full sack. You can check that, Ron, if you can, in the box score.
I'll check it out.
But Jalen Phillips was getting in there as well. But, that defensive line looked completely exhausted by the end of the game.
But like I'm sure they're taking these 10 days and like, oh my God, thank you. I can get some oxygen back in my body.
Replenish, get healthy and then get after this kid, because he can't beat you. He just can't beat you.
Speaking of health, Duke, our good friend Chris Early, otherwise known as Duke, affectionately to me and others. What are y'all's thoughts on Kader Kohu, which is actually important because now we're hearing that Xavier Howard might also not play, and we're still not hearing anything on Byron Jones?
Well, we'll know about Byron Jones on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll know more. We'll also know more about Xavier Howard by his designation tomorrow. His issue is a groin. That's better than a hamstring. Okay. The last time that Xavier Howard had a hamstring, he was kind of hobbled for 2 weeks and missed one of those weeks and then played terrible the following week, which was against Tampa Bay, I believe. So, I would expect him to play. And if not, I expect him to come back pretty quickly.
Which comes back to the Kader Kohu to the discussion.
Yeah, I like Kader Kohu a lot. He's had a great season. I thought he played really, really good against the Bengals. They got a little bit conservative, and they had to, Look, Josh Boyer's not getting the results that he wants, except that his team has actually made some plays to win games. I thought that Bills game was absolutely heroic. And I thought they played really, really well against the Bills, except for like a couple of drives, and they couldn't get off the field on 3rd down.
That was where they got killed against the Bills. That's why that was the problem. They just could not get off the field on 3rd down.
But we're talking about they were inches away from having a monster defensive performance against the Bills. Okay, all they got to do is catch the ball. Like if they catch the ball, they have a monster game against the Bills. Great second half against the Ravens. Great game overall against the Patriots. Against the Bengals, man, they had a good game plan. And they kept the score where they wanted it for the most part. But the offense just couldn't produce from like the second quarter to like early 4th. So I expect that they'll play more complementary football this time and get the defense a lead so they can play the way they're designed to play.
I think they're going to look really good against the Jets overall. Mm-hmm. I really do.
Mostly because I'm just not impressed with the Jets, man. Like, I understand that the people are excited about their team and there's some good things there, but it's like I'm gonna need some more from the Jets before I start looking at them as a legitimate threat in the AFC East. I'm sorry.
The Jets have a lot of nice pieces, but they're not a good team. You know what I mean? Like you can point to a lot of individual players and say, wow, that guy's really good. And that guy's really good. And that guy could ball and that guy could be a monster. But when you look at them play, they're just not that great a team.
I mean, if you look at their front, like you would think that their pass rush is a little bit better than what it has been. Right. And then obviously when you go out there and you draft a Jermaine Johnson, you expect to at least start creating that type of identity. Yes, we all know about Sauce. Like that's all the Jet fans are talking about, right?
I can't wait to watch Tyreek wreck this kid. Okay?
Right. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that's besides the fact. To me, the strength of this Jets defense has always been the front. And don't tell me just because they faced Kenny Pickett in the second half and they started improving is somewhere where the Jets fans should feel all confident. No, I'm sorry. Like one half of football doesn't erase over 3.5 weeks of it. Like no. So they have the talent up front, or at least on paper they do. They're just I don't feel like they're well coached, man. I just don't feel like nothing against Robert Saleh. You kind of know you know, Alf, and you know this, Alf. I mean, you've watched games more than us and anyone, man. You know when a coach is great at being on offense or defense or special teams, and when that coach gets called as a head coach, it's so different than what you've ever done in your entire career. You're not focusing on the whole thing instead of just one side. And sometimes, hey, a defensive mind coach, like, what is he really gonna be giving to an offensive huddle? You know what I'm saying? Unless you have an offensive guy who's gonna be that for you. But sometimes these defensive coaches, I hate to say it, they don't really pan out. Oh, Rex Ryan, yeah, okay, 2 AFC titles, okay. I mean, not titles, but they made it to the championship game. But besides that, like, you know, a Jim Harbaugh, special teams, once in a blue moon. Sean McDermott, once in a blue moon, right? People don't remember. He was a defensive coordinator under Jim Johnson with the Eagles, went to Carolina, whatever the case is. But these defensive coaches, sometimes they just don't pan out as NFL head coaches.
Yeah, the guys that tend to pan out on the defensive side of the ball are the ones that have very strong personalities on the offensive side.
And Ron Rivera right now, he's floundering, by the way. Like, people said Ron Rivera before. It's not happening anymore. Like, it's not the same.
No. Yeah. No, and if you remember when they went to the Super Bowl that year with Cam Newton, they went to the Super Bowl with Superman and with Mike Shula as the offensive coordinator, who at the time was the hot coordinator, but it was really because he had Superman at quarterback. He was the Josh Allen back then. He was, he was Josh Allen before Josh Allen. So, you know. But Rex Ryan, those 2 years was with Broughton Schottenheimer, who at the time was considered one of the best offensive coordinators in football. And he was basically handed the keys to the offense. And I think that's what you're seeing with Mike McDaniel. And that's why he's having some early success. He's able to concentrate on the offensive side of the ball, okay, and build his little triumvirate with John Embry and Darrell Bevel to run the offense while he's just handing it off to Josh Boyer on the defensive side of the ball, because they brought back, basically the continuity, from last year. So they basically just said, look, you guys take care of that part and we'll take care of this. But it's right. It's true what Manny is saying. All these defensive coaches, like, you can see the ones that have been successful, they've had very, very strong personalities. Look, when Mike Tomlin, by the way, is a special teams guy, so he doesn't although his background is from defense.
Yeah, but no.
Mike Tomlin, when his teams were really, really good. Do you remember who his offensive coordinators were?
It was Bruce Arians, right?
Bruce Arians for one.
Yeah.
And then that maniac, what was his name, man? Todd Haley, remember?
Oh, Todd Haley.
Oh, I forgot.
The guy was with the Chiefs. Yeah.
Todd Haley.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
All those guys,
all those
guys are really strong personalities that take control of the offensive side of the ball.
And their offenses were always modern and updated and just playing, they were always further ahead of the game than a lot of the coaches were.
Ron, they would always adapt. They were always
they were always adapting. I mean,
some of these coaches just don't want to do that nowadays.
Yeah, you got a real split in the NFL.
On their, what worked.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Adam Gase? No one was more fixated on the way he did it in his plays, regardless of Adam.
Do you guys remember?
No ability to adapt.
Do you guys remember the huge controversy between Mike Tomlin and Todd Haley that one time, where they were saying that Mike Tomlin wanted to fire Todd Haley because Todd Haley was throwing the ball too much? Remember?
I remember something. I just didn't remember that.
Yeah, there were 6 games in. I remember talking about this back then on a podcast. I don't know if it was 3 yards per carry or not, because it was a while back. But Todd Haley was almost fired because Mike Tomlin was like, "You're not including the running game too much, and it's exposing our defense. You're throwing the ball too much." They were averaging 34 points a game, and they were number 1 offense in the NFL through 6 games. Okay. So would you fire that guy? By the way, that year they went to the AFC Championship game and lost to the Patriots. Okay, that year. So they were pretty good. Okay, and Todd Haley stuck around for another year, but Todd Haley was always one of these guys that you see him and he's like, okay, he's a great coach, but he's not going to be here for long. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's a guy that's not going to get along with people. So yeah, Manny's completely right, man. Like, the modern era, the Dolphins have it right. The Dolphins kind of have it right as far as coaching goes.
Yeah. I think that's where the Chargers are struggling a little too.
Talk about the Jets a little bit.
I mean, that's fine. We're going to talk about the Jets shortly. We'll do our predictions and everything first. But Manny, since you're here, like we've already gone 55 minutes into the show. It's going to be another long one. Can we do our 3 NFL stories? Do you have
all right. You know what? Listen, since we're talking about head coaches, and I did bring up Jim Harbaugh. So once again, the man wants to gamble.
Jim or John?
Jim or John? Okay, Harbaugh. I'm just going to say Harbaugh.
the NFL variety.
NFL, the one that coaches in the NFL, not the one in Michigan.
Okay.
Last year, Raven fans and a lot of people in the NFL media questioned him on certain calls towards the end of games to try to win it. Obviously, when it works, you're great. When it doesn't work, you get questioned. But once again, we saw another situation, and where, listen, by the way, the Ravens, I don't know what it is with them at home, but in the second half, they just don't want to play.
5 in a row. They've lost really 5 in a row at home.
It is with multiple Ravens squad, but they decide not to play football in the second half when they forget.
Weird. So unusual, especially for the Ravens.
Correctly, right? So
crazy.
It's they've had the ball for nearly, I think it was 9-10 minutes. They drive all the way down into the red zone. It's 4th and goal. And instead of kicking a field goal to take the lead, they gamble on 4th and goal. Yes, Lamar had a guy open in the corner, but people are forgetting that he was pressured and he had to leave the pocket. It doesn't go to fruition. Bills just go right down the field, milk it, kill it to 3 seconds, and boom, knife into the heart. At one point, does this continue occurring and you still have an NFL job? Because everybody wants to say, but he won a Super Bowl. How long has that been? The narrative shouldn't be anymore. You've won a Super Bowl. It's been what, 10 years?
It didn't last very long for Doug Peterson in Philly, did it? It lasted like 2 years, and they got rid of him.
So at what point does a coach continue to gamble like this and still have his job? Because number one, you are messing with a quarterback that is still on a 1-year deal. He hasn't signed it. He's playing completely well, but yet your football team is not responding to you in the second half. And basically, you've had both games intact for you to win at home, and you continue to try to gamble here. Again, at what point does this still keep you your job? Because I feel like Harbaugh is now playing with fire. Last year, he was trying not to play with fire. He had gas. This time, he has the gas in his hand, and he wants to lit it on fire. So at what point does this stop? You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to get fired, man. I'm sorry. You're going to get fired. Who cares if you win a Super Bowl?
I think week 17 is when it stops, when he's fired. That's when it stops. Because I think at the end of the year, look, they've already lost a game to the Dolphins and a game to the Bills. That's really, really bad.
Teams in the
because those are good AFC
at home.
teams.
At home.
For playoff positioning, that's really, really bad. They got the Bengals coming up. They lose that one, they're really up against it. Okay, because
that's with Lamar Jackson putting up MVP type numbers.
So
that's what's crazy.
So pretty soon they're gonna have a path that's gonna be, look, win the division or nothing. Okay, because that division, I think they're gonna beat up on each other. Because if you watch the Browns. The Browns are really, really competent. Their defense is fine. It's really, really good. And they run the ball really, really well. So if they catch you on the wrong day and you can't stop their run, they'll control a game and they'll sneak one past you. So the Ravens could easily lose to the Browns. Okay? And we know they can lose to the Bengals. I think that, if they miss the playoffs, I think John Harbaugh gets fired. And then I think Bisciotti, the owner, is going to look around and say, look, I'm going to start all over with my franchise quarterback. I'm going to give him a contract, and I'm going to go find an offensive mind to run the team. I'm going to go do what everybody else is doing.
Eric Bieniemy, next coach of the Ravens. You heard it here first.
You know what? I'm going to stick with Lewis, though, what he said about this. I think it was last week, Lewis, when we were talking about the whole thing with him and Patrick Mahomes. There has to be a reason why the guy hasn't gotten a head coaching job.
I think he interviews badly. That's my guess. I think he just interviews badly. Doesn't maybe communicate very well.
I mean, the fact that he and Mahomes are fighting, like, you don't want to fight with Patrick Mahomes. Like, you're gonna lose that fight.
Was over like 3 minutes later.
But you know what? I suspect that Lamar Jackson might actually go up to bat for Eric Bieniemy. So we'll see. If Lamar Jackson, who, as Alf predicts, ends up saying he's going to get a massive contract, if Lamar Jackson goes up to the owner and says, I want that guy as my coach, he could easily just be hired like that. It could really be that easy. So we'll see about that. Personally, as far as the fourth quarters, as far as the fourth down stuff goes, because that's what you were kind of going on about, Manny. Yeah, you're a genius when it works, and you're an idiot when it doesn't. But I think it's just picking your spots and knowing when the right time to do it is and when the right time not to do it is. And for John Harbaugh, it seems like the right time to do it is every single time. And I know it's not a lack of faith in Justin Tucker because he's like the best kicker in the whole NFL.
I think he had a bad process because I know what he's thinking. Okay, they're at the 3-yard line.
Yes.
If they don't get it, then Buffalo is backed up, right?
But on the 4th and goal, I believe there was a penalty, and the football got pushed back 5 yards. So now they're at the 9, I believe.
Yeah, that's probably when he should have kicked the field goal.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, 4th and 9, even McDaniel is probably going to kick the field goal.
Correct.
But we're starting with a bad process to begin with because he's thinking, okay, if we don't get it, we're backed up. Okay, what if you're intercepted? Because if you're intercepted, the ball comes out to the 20. What if you have a turnover?
It's like one of those things where you tell the quarterback, like a lot of times when the clock's going to run out, right? And you're trying to push the ball and maybe try and get one more play to see if you can get in the end zone or get closer for a field goal. But the one thing you're not allowed to do is they tell you, don't take a sack. And like same thing with this, don't take a sack, don't throw a pick. I mean, that's just, you just can't.
Like at the end of the Ravens game, at the end of the Ravens game with the Dolphins, you remember Mike McDaniel and Tua going over their process at the end of that last drive. Mm-hmm. They had 3 points in the bag. So all the plays were called, look, it's either us or nobody. So you're putting that ball in a place where only we can get it or nobody else gets it. Because no matter what, we're kicking this field goal and we're going to overtime. That's going to be the worst case scenario.
I still think that play call, that draw play to Chase Edmonds, man, I still say that that's probably the best call I've seen in quite some time out of a Dolphins head coach.
That was a fantastic
and I do understand that I could be totally wrong or whatever the case is. But nobody in the right mind, Alf, calls a draw play in that situation like that. And
that's what I was.
And it was completely set up. If you watch that play, and I rewatched the sequence because what I've tried to do is that as I rewatch these games. By the way, I just finished charting the Buffalo game. Okay, so I'm like 2 weeks behind, but it takes a while to start charting all these players. By the way, we'll talk about on the way. We got to talk about Greg Little. By the way, as we go out because that's 2 bad games in a row for Greg Little. All right, but as I was watching that game, they were noticing that if they ran the guy in the slot across the formation in motion, that the guy was running with him and vacating the spot, right? And they decided, you know what, we're going to do it again. And if we identify man, then he's going to run with him. Then we got 2 guys to block one, and we could run that little slip.
Have all that open field to the right. Yeah.
We had that slip counter with Chase Edmonds. And I guess they were thinking, look, if he doesn't, then I guess we're throwing the ball, right? Dude, man, they run the slot guy in motion across the formation, and the guy leaves with them. And then they run it, and there's nobody there. We have 2 guys to block one. That's just really, really smart play calling. There's a couple of play calls in that Cincinnati game that are just like high level. That you could see how a guy like Eazy-E, Eric Ezukama, why he's not suited up yet, because you have to know what the hell you're doing in this offense, because this thing is like really, really intricate. And here's the thing, man. We talked about this on the podcast. If you look at this team on offense, they're producing. Okay, like they're producing numbers. This is a pretty good offense, but they're still at that we're screwing up stage. Like they still have not what we would call great execution. So, I'm looking forward to when this offense really starts to click. When starts to click.
Yeah, you can definitely still tell that there's a lot of stuff that they need to work on. Their blocking assignments, their ability to not be out of formation.
Look, Tyreek Hill, and what I was happy to hear is that the players say the right things, okay? Tyreek Hill had his availability, what was it, yesterday or was it today?
Today.
It was today? All right, Tyreek Hill had his availability today, and he said, look, when we're looking at the film, and as a wide receiver room, we got to get it right. We got to start blocking better downfield. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, so you saw the 40-yard run that would have been a touchdown for Mostert against the Bills where you missed the block. And you also saw the play where Jalen Waddle missed the block against the Bengals on a Chase Edmonds run that could have turned into like 20, 30 yards as well. So, yeah, man, they're close. They're really close to starting hitting on all cylinders. And the great news is they're 3-1.
All right, so let's see if we can get them to 4-1. So let's talk about the Jets game real quick. Alf, you talked about Greg Little. We'll get into that a little more specifically in just a moment. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins 3-1. They've got a lot of stuff happening. They're getting ready to go out into the MetLife takeover, which, by the way, they're still selling a few tickets. So if you still want to get in there and you haven't had your chance to go ahead and do it, if you have the temptation gnawing at you to go join them at MetLife takeover, go ahead and just DM Dolphins NYC. That's at Dolphins NYC. And they are still taking offers. They're going to be cutting it off tomorrow, I'm told.
For their area, so that you're with your
so
your
you're actually with the people. Yeah, because that's the point. That's the point of the takeover. It's like the whole area of that stadium just needs to be aqua and orange.
I'm amazed that the Jets do that. It must not be the Jets. Is it StubHub or something? Like, who is it? Like, why would the Jets be so?
It's money, bro. They don't care.
I guess they just want the ticket sales. They don't care.
It's money. They don't care, but they'll let them. And every year, MetLife takeover is a guaranteed boatload of cash.
I want to see him do it like surround Fire Marshal. What's his name? I almost said Fire Marshal Bill. Fireman Fred. Whatever his name.
Fireman Ed.
Fire Marshal.
Fire Marshal Bill.
Fireman Ed. It's Fireman Ed.
Fireman Ed. That's it. Fireman Fred. Whatever.
Didn't Fireman Ed used to be a Dolphins fan or
they
something?
surround.
Yeah, that was the rumor.
Like, that would be fun. I'm going to talk to Igor about that just to see, like, hey, how about you just go and sit right next to Fireman Ed this year, just to surround him with Dolphins fans. That would be hysterical. But yeah, if you haven't done it yet and you still want to, you still have time. Just go ahead and DM Dolphins NYC. They'll hook you up. But with that being said, obviously, even though that's happening, it's still technically a home game for the New York Jets. They're enjoying the fact that they have their quarterback back. There's still some really good players on there. You mentioned Breece Hall, Quinnen Williams, obviously on the defensive side of the ball. Sauce Gardner's having himself a really good rookie season so far. Let's do what our usual things are. Let's go with our MVP, our underrated, and our overrated player. I know you don't like this game, Ron, but I'm going to make you play it anyway. Go ahead. You first.
Oh, I got to go first. Huh?
Yeah, you're going first this time.
I haven't even thought about that.
By the way, Chris Duke's making fire.
I won't do my Fire Marshal Bill impersonation. Let's just continue with the
Fire
show.
Marshal Bill.
Yeah. Do you even know who that is, Lewis? But
no, I don't. And I don't think maybe I shouldn't find
awesome.
out. Never mind. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's see. My MVP for this game, man. I feel like I might have said this once before, but I feel like Holland is going to give Wilson fits. I feel like Wilson's really going to struggle to get a true read and beat on how good Holland is and how much Holland can probably read what he's doing. And then the big one is how quickly Holland can get to his spot, because he is just a little bit quicker to his spot than a lot of safeties. So I could see Holland really be, because he's playing fantastic, by the way. But I could really see this being like a game where people super start to notice him on, a large outside of Miami, for sure. So who do I think will play? I don't know. It said the underrated.
Yes,
right?
It's always the same thing. Is the surprise player.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
So
I didn't see that happen.
Surprise player, man. I mean, I'm going to go, I know this sounds silly, but I'm going to go with people start to really, really start to notice Riley.
Riley?
He's just like, I don't know, man. I didn't even think, I just looked at him before as just a guy that's just kind of there. You know what I mean? As a backup or whatever, but he's really making some plays. I just can see that continuing to progress.
And by the way, can Dolphin Twitter please get off of Atlanta Roberts' ass? That guy balls out every single week. If anybody saw him against the Bengals, he was just smacking people the entire game.
We need a guy like that on the team because we don't have a ton of them.
I don't know why.
Outside of the line.
I guess it's because he's a little slower. Like, he's not as good in coverage. I guess that's why they're bothered by it, because the Dolphins keep letting yards happen. I guess they're picking Atlanta Roberts to pick on.
Yeah, but if he's in coverage, then that's the defensive coordinator's fault, not his. You know what I mean?
Right. I get that. Like, Atlanta Roberts should not be out there unless he's going to go bang somebody. So I don't see why he's even in coverage to begin with. Although I'll be fair, I don't know why they're putting Melvin Ingram in coverage either. So I've seen that happen a few times. Like, if I'm the Dolphins, Melvin Ingram and even Jalen Phillips to some extent, I just want them to go rush the passer. I don't particularly care to have them in coverage, but I guess that's the amoeba defense. Like, you kind of have to take that in as a reality of it. So you're underrated, Duke Riley. Who's gonna suck, Ron?
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing a comeback from Brandon Jones. Kind of worried about him.
Comeback, or he's gonna be bad?
No, he's coming back to reality a little bit.
Oh, okay,
we
you're coming down to earth. Gotcha.
Thought he was taking this big step forward from last year, and I kind of see him heading the wrong way right now. So I'm kind of thinking maybe that continues.
But I think that partly is because he's being asked to cover more, and
which is not his forte.
That's not his game.
No, it's not.
I keep saying it. Brandon Jones,
Rashad Jones,
is a younger Rashad Jones, and Rashad Jones was at his best
was
when
better
he was ball hawking and when he was blitzing off the safety. He's not a guy you want in coverage one-on-one. I'm sorry, I just don't. If you really need someone to cover a tight end and you have a safety, it's got to be Eric Rowe. That's his job. That's his role. So if you need coverage, go to Eric Rowe. You want somebody to attack the quarterback? I got you, Brandon Jones. He's gonna do the job for you. All right, Alf, your turn. MVP, surprise player, and the player who's going to suck on Sunday.
All right, MVP, I'll give you one. Emmanuel Ogbah, he has 3 sacks on Sunday.
Nice.
3?
That would be awesome.
Who's he facing that he's going to get 3?
By the way, Jalen Phillips did get his whole sack for the Bengals game.
Okay,
good.
Right.
I looked it up, but I forgot to tell you.
And he'll have 1 too. Okay, how about that?
Okay, nice.
Wow. All right, but Emmanuel Ogbah gets 3 sacks on Sunday. And the reason he gets 3 sacks on Sunday is because as of right now, when he lines up, there's nobody standing in front of him. and I mean,
are you saying there's no depth left? Like there's nobody left to play?
The Jets don't know who's starting at right tackle as of right now. Okay, they've had 3 tackles injured. They're down to the 4th tackle, and evidently Connor McDermott has to play left tackle, right? So who the hell is playing right tackle? Are they going to move out Elijah Vera-Tucker, then play Dan Feeney at right guard? Is that what they're going to do? I don't care what they do. But as of right now, it's not looking good for them. I think Emmanuel Ogbah lines up a lot over there. He gets 3 sacks. He's the player of the game. Guy who might suck. You know what? Greg Little, since he got injured, man, you can almost track it since he hurt his hand.
Like the moment he got injured, he hasn't been the same.
And that's always been the knock on him. The knock on him is he gets injured, his play falls off a cliff. I think he begins to, look, AJ comes back in a couple of weeks. Okay, he's eligible to come back, I believe, week 6. So, yeah, in a couple of weeks, he's eligible to come back. I think that they start playing around with, if they don't like what they see from Greg Little in this game, I think they start playing around a little bit with Robert Hunt at right tackle. Because I went back, and as I was watching that Bills game, as I was charting Greg Little, Robert Hunt had some really nice reps against the Bills at right tackle. Like, he looked like, man, like this guy's, he likes it out there.
I liked him. I liked him at right tackle when he was a rookie.
Yeah.
Not that he's been a bad guard, but I felt like
we know
that's your right tackle.
Yeah. So look, that tells you a lot about this coaching staff. Everybody's like, man, they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough at right tackle. Evidently, they knew what they were doing.
They knew what they had, and
they were like, look, we're going to try AJ, and if that doesn't work out, we kind of like Greg Little, and look, he played really good when he was healthy. And they go, look, we even have a 3rd option, which is just put Robert Hunt out there. And look, if you have to go to a 4th option, you got more problems than depth at right tackle. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Very true.
But that's what the Jets are dealing with.
Then you're the Jets.
Okay. That's what the Jets are dealing with. All right. So I would say Greg Little, like, I think he's on a short leash, and they might just say, look, screw it. Robert Hunt, you're the right tackle.
But who goes to right guard then? Are we going with Robert Jones for sure?
Probably Robert Jones.
It's your boy, right?
Who's
guard. My boy?
Don't you like Robert Jones?
I mean, I said I like Robert Jones because he was better than Jesse Davis, but that's not a very high bar, Ron.
Weren't you complaining that we didn't put him until week 17 last year, and then he played
than Jesse Davis,
I know,
who was basically Dallas Thomas at that point.
And the other one was underrated, right?
Yes, you're underrated player. You're surprise player.
Okay, I'll give you one. Mike Gesicki hasn't had a big game yet.
You think this is it? Teddy Bridgewater going to get it to him?
He might have a monster game because they got some serious stiffs that are going to be guarding tight ends, especially in 11 personnel. They actually think CJ Mosley could run in coverage, and he can't anymore. If they really are going to, and look, I don't care who the hell Sauce Gardner is. If they leave him on an island with either one of our guys, he's going to get smoked. He's going to be smoked Gardner. Okay. So they're going to give him a little bit of help. And if they do, then you know what's coming. It's going to leave the middle of the field with those safeties and those linebackers. And I think Gesicki could have a sneaky good game. I'm not saying like 10 for 150, but maybe 5 for 70 and a touchdown. Like that's a possibility.
So we're definitely picking the over for Gesicki on Prize Picks this week.
I think this is a good week for Mike Gesicki. I think it's a good week for Mike Gesicki, and I'll tell you why. You could see it on the film in the Cincinnati game. He was going to start getting the ball thrown to him. And at the end, there was plays being called for him. The problem with this offense, and I said this all throughout. I said this when a lot of people were asking me for fantasy advice. Everybody had it in their head. Like, man, Gesicki's going to have a monster year because Waddle and Tyreek are going to draw so much attention. I was like, if they're drawing attention, it's because they're going to get the ball thrown to them. So you're talking about the third option. Don't draft the third option in fantasy football. I thought Mike Gesicki was not going to have a good year because everything I saw in the offseason, in training camp, was that this offense was extremely focused on Waddle and Tyreek Hill. But now it's a little bit different. For good reason, yeah. Like you want to throw those guys the ball. You know, you don't want to throw the ball to Gesicki. But they were starting to call some stuff for Gesicki in this game. I think it pops against the Jets because the Jets play very conservatively on the outside, and we know how that is. Bills already did that against the Dolphins. They force you to try to take everything underneath. That's why all this stuff, Sauce Gardner's clamping down on people. No, he's not. He's playing a lot of zone is what he's doing right now, okay, and tackling people in front of him.
Man, and good luck when they play the Bills with that strategy, too. Oof.
Wow. Stephon Diggs. Yeah. Josh Allen.
This could be the game for Gesicki, you know. Selfishly, I want to see 200 yards rushing, man. Get 200 yards rushing, and this team is going to be riding high because then they would have found another thing they can do well, you know.
I think that's probably the one way they haven't won a game yet. They've won with defense, they've won with tenacity, and they won in absolute hyper offense passing. So the only thing they haven't done yet is just run the ball roughshod over somebody.
Yeah.
All right.
But they're a talented team. I would say, you know, don't be surprised if the game is kind of close early. You know, don't be nervous. You know, relax. You know, relax.
Alf, you never watched the game with me. I make coffee nervous.
They have a lot of talent.
How I am.
They have a lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They have a lot of talent, but they have some deficiencies on offense, and those deficiencies on offense is going to be their downfall in this game.
No, you have watched the game with me. We're at Perdomo's house. Yeah, that's
yeah.
So you did. So you have seen me in action. All right, my guys, and then we'll go into like just straight up predictions, and then we'll call it a show because we've been running long again because this is what we do now. I'm gonna say that the MVP of the game. You know what? I'm going to say that they do run the ball more today. I think that on Sunday, I think that Raheem Mostert's going to get him. He's going to break free for a big one this time. I think he's going to get free. He's going to start running, like using that light speed of his, and he's actually going to be able to get into the end zone. They're not going to have to hand it off to Chase Edmonds at the 1 yard line, which still baffles me. Is like, if you're on the 1 yard line, why aren't you giving it to Ali Ingold or somebody, not the Chase Edmonds? Like, he's not exactly a power back, but I digress. I think Mostert's going to run free today, that Sunday, and I think that it's going to be awesome to watch because finally we're going to have a running game that everybody's been waiting for. Guy who's going to suck. You know what? I'm going to say that the guy who's going to end up sucking this game, I'm having a hard time thinking of one, to be perfectly honest, because again, I guess it's just how lowly I think of the Jets, and I know Alf's warning me, but it's like, doggone it, man, I can't think of anybody on the Jets that makes me nervous. I don't know. Maybe Kader Kohu has a bad game because it's bound to happen eventually, and he's a rookie. He's going to be facing some guys who have been there a while. Maybe Zach Wilson finds him wide open against somebody. I don't know. I don't have any proof of that. I just need to pick a name out of the hat because I can't think of anybody who I'm worried about against the Jets. Underrated player. Alf said Emmanuel Ogbah. I'm going to say Jalen Phillips. He finally stopped being almost and finally actually gets to him because, again, Zach Wilson, athletic though he is not as evasive as the likes of Allen and Lamar Jackson and them. So I think we might finally get some actual sacks this time around thanks to whatever blitzing that Josh Boyer is going to put on him because unlike other quarterbacks the Miami Dolphins have faced, Zach Wilson, if I'm correct in remembering this, he does not like being blitzed, like not even a little bit. So with the way that the Dolphins do business, he might end up hitting the ground a lot. And I think Jalen Phillips is going to be the main guy on that a lot of the time, if only because he's one of the faster guys out there. So now I'll give my prediction so that you guys can close it out. I think that the Dolphins are going to win this game. I think the MetLife takeover will, they're going to make it feel like it's a home game for the Dolphins. I really, really do. They always do. They always do a fantastic job. Like you can hear "Let's Go Dolphins" chants every single year on any television that you're watching. And no matter how badly they try to muffle it out. So I think that the Dolphins are going to win this game. I think they're going to win this game like 27-16, maybe more, because in spite of the fact that it's Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback, again, Teddy's not a slouch. He's not terrible. He's pretty darn good. And he's got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki and Raheem Mostert. And he's got a functional offensive line behind him now. So you know what? I think the Dolphins are going to win this game. They're going to win it handily because, again, I'm sorry, it's the Jets. It is not Buffalo. It is not Cincinnati. It is not even New England. And it is most certainly not the Baltimore Ravens, who have been the worst, the bane of the Dolphins' existence for years. And now it seems like we've finally broken that curse. So that's my prediction. 27-16 Dolphins win. Ron, you go next.
All right. I think the biggest disparity in this game is going to be Miami's going to make the Jets very one-dimensional on offense because they're simply just not going to run the ball on us. I don't know if anybody, I keep saying it every week, but continue to say it. I don't know if anybody's really paying attention to what the Dolphins have done in their run defense this year, but the run defense has been something we've been concerned about ever since Flores got here. Right? Even when the defense was good, we were concerned about it. This year, man, I mean, they are just a wall up there.
Zach Sealer, extend him.
Yes, all these.
No, but let me say,
he's like the best guy up there.
Let me say that their signings, Trey Flowers and Melvin Ingram, and everybody didn't notice that last year Melvin Ingram was one of the better run defenders on the edge in the NFL. Those two guys have paid so much dividends in the run game. Like those guys are awesome edge players against the run, and it's transformed the defense. Like they're really, really good against the run. Like I don't see a team running on them.
That brings up a question so that actually it's made me curious, especially with him. How come Melvin Ingram keeps bouncing around? How come he doesn't get a longer deal?
Age.
Like he's still got it.
Age. Yeah, he's got it, but it's age. I mean, he's not at Von Miller level, right? If he was at Von Miller level, he'd go out and get a Von Miller contract. It's his age and he's really good, but he's not like stellar. So, and the position he plays, he's going to fall off at some point.
JPP just signed for 1 year, $5 million with the Ravens, and if you watched him against the Bills, he was really, really good. So
it's like in bursts.
Yeah, it's guys that are that age, nobody wants to pay them
at that position. Yeah,
at that position because it's a very high impact position. So guys often get hurt at that position, and when they see age, they think, we're gonna give this guy $5 million, and he's gonna steal the $5 million from us because he's gonna be injured every single week, and he's not gonna be able to play too many snaps. So that's what usually what happens.
Okay, well, hopefully Miami brings him back next year then, because he's been crucial to this defense. All right, go ahead, Ron.
So I think they're gonna make it very one-dimensional for the Jets, which is gonna make it much harder on Zach Wilson. Those blitz packages are gonna come in. I think he's gonna face a lot of second and third and long, and they are gonna blitz him. No, he does not like that. I think they'll be able to confuse him some. He's still fairly inexperienced. I believe that's going to be the big difference in the game right there. The offense will be okay. I mean, I think we're going to score a few touchdowns. We're going to score a couple of field goals. I could see like a 27-13 type win where, I'd say, 27-13 Miami.
All righty, Alf.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Something similar to that. I think they'll get a late touchdown to open it up on the Jets. I think the Jets will be competitive for about a half and a half. So let's say mid-third quarters when you're going to start seeing like Jets really can't go anywhere with this, can they? So something similar. I think Jason Sanders gets a workout because I noticed something about Teddy Bridgewater. He's not the finisher that Tua Tagovailoa is. So I think he gets a workout. 23-10 is the final score.
Okay. So that's going to wrap it up for this show, which has gone for about an hour and a half now. We keeps getting longer. We're really going to.
It does. It gets longer.
We got to cut our corners somewhere.
By the last game, will be like 5 hours.
Like 5 hour podcast. So. No, but I could talk with you guys forever. Honestly, I could. All right. Once again, I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up because we have, once again, our sponsors. Manny, put that graphic up there. PrizePicks.com. If you haven't already signed up with them, the promo code is 5 FIVE. They will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you first sign up. That rolls over just only for the first time that you're good to go. They will basically give you $100 to play with when you sign up using that promo code, and then you can go ahead and pick the over on Mike Gesicki for this upcoming week, because I think maybe that having the different quarterback as well will also have an impact, not to mention the fact that he's going to be open. I really think that's going to be the case this time. So FIVE, prizepicks.com, use that promo code. They'll match up to $100. Go ahead and pick the over on Mike Gesicki, and if you're not confident about that, just go ahead with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle as well. Also, wanted to go ahead and quickly point out before we go, if you are a Miami Heat fan, then the 5 on the Floor post game is returning to 5 Reasons Sports, first live on YouTube, and then it will be archived to wherever you find your podcast. So if you're a Miami Heat fan, make sure that you are watching the Miami Heat post game shows, 5 on the Floor post game. Don't miss out on the best Heat content in all of sports media. Brady Hawk, by the way, best young reporter I've ever seen in my life as far as I'm concerned. This kid is on fire, and he knows what he's talking about. X's and O's, commentary, like he is awesome. So go and watch 5 on the Floor post game. If you are a Miami Heat fan, you will not regret it. All right, we will be here on 5 Reasons Sports doing the what is it? I'm tired, man. Yard prep for the pregame show here on 5 Reasons Sports Network this upcoming Sunday. I will be here probably a little bit later on because I have to do my Sunday thing. And then I will be on for post game afterwards to give commentary and instant reactions. I know I will be there. Maybe Ron will be there. Maybe Alf will be there. It's always maybes when it comes to
I'll come in on the post. That's fine.
Okay. So you're coming. So did you find a way to watch that wasn't Hooters now? Like a reliable way to watch football games?
Yes. It's way better at what the hell is that place called in South Florida that's like Hooters?
Which one is it? Flanagan's?
Something Peaks? Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
No, yeah, I'm just kidding. Yes, I did find a way to watch that I don't have to go to Hooters.
Why are you shaking your head, Manny? I see you. I'm in the producer box. I can see you now.
I mean, I'd rather go to Hooters, but then I
can't
do the post show.
Hey, why are you shaking your head? You don't approve? He just removed himself.
I am not gonna get into this.
One more hour.
Alf, where do you watch games?
In my backyard.
Okay, well that's okay. Can't beat that.
Yeah,
or from my friend's pool. Or from my friend's pool. You know.
Okay,
that's usually. I watched the entire comeback against the Ravens from a pool.
So like you were in the pool.
Yeah,
that's the
Did you have a cerveza?
Luxury right there, man.
Yeah, I had many cervezas, and we were watching the TV in the little lanai area, from the pool as the whole comeback was coming, and we were all high-fiving in the pool. A lot of fun.
Oh man,
where do you watch your games, Lewis? At home?
Yeah, I watch it at home in my room as I'm desperately trying not to live tweet everything since the NFL blacklisted me for it. But it's like I'm just trying to make sure that I keep an eye on as much as I can so that I can be ready to host post game.
I gotta say that was the funniest thing I ever heard in my life when the NFL blacklisted Lewis. Like they put his picture.
I didn't even know that happened.
Stadiums.
Congratulations.
They put his picture at 32 stadiums and they said, "Do not allow this man entry." It was
because you tweeted the Dolphins games.
Because he live tweeted a play-by-play of a game, and I guess the NFL saw it and was like, "Whoa, don't do that."
No, they don't like. In all seriousness, they don't like live tweeting because it messes with their whole money line with their NFL Game Plus and whatever they're calling it now. They like if you do live tweeting, then there's no point in paying.
Yeah, the only thing that they get more. Yeah, the only thing they get more pissed off about is if you like mess with their logos at all. Like if you mess with their logos, you're getting a nasty email from the NFL.
So Draw Play Dave has probably gotten into a lot of trouble over the years.
Yeah, threatening a lawsuit and all type of stuff. Yeah, like the NFL does not play around with their logos.
Well. So anyway, thank you all once again for joining us. Alf, thank you for coming on. Ron, thank you for coming on as always. Manny, always in the background. We always appreciate you. And sometimes in the foreground. Always feel free to come back into the foreground whenever you like. Here, just one real quick, the Eagles logo there. Congratulations, Manny and his Eagles.
It's really
on the way out here,
algorithm,
On the way out here, let's predict when the Eagles are gonna lose.
Oh,
okay, go ahead.
Listen,
anybody have that schedule?
Good team, man.
Hold on, I am taking it game by game. I'm not thinking what happens 2-3 weeks from now, even though that Dallas game, it really does happen.
Oh, come on. Wait a minute. No,
right,
the Eagles have this pancake schedule, man. The Cardinals,
pancake schedule. But
what's a pancake schedule?
The Commanders.
Many of you AFC fans said that this
it.
division was the NFC least. But now all of a sudden,
they're definitely a better
Commanders
division.
are actually winning football games, and yet you guys don't want to admit to that.
They're a better. Oh, not you guys. They're a much better division than I think anybody thought.
You, sir. I remember you, Ron.
I thought they were going to be crap. They're a good division. I'm talking about it, man. The Giants are 3-1. The Eagles are 4-0. The Dallas is 3-1 and probably have the best defense in the league. I mean, they're not. That's not a cream puff division.
Have you seen the AFC South?
Yeah, they're not.
That thing's awesome. It doesn't have an overall cream puff schedule, bro.
That's a bad schedule. That's a bad division.
Hey, man.
Eagles have schedule. Okay,
Eagles have a lot of their tough games at home. Eagles have a lot of their tough games at home. Like this thing could go for a while.
Nice. I hope
we might
keep it going, man.
1972.
But I'll make a prediction.
Imagine that.
Talk about not. I'm only thinking a game ahead. But we're going to tie with 1972 Dolphins.
Fans of a franchise that celebrates 1972 every year.
I know.
You know why? Because we can. Because we can, Manny. No one else can.
I'm sorry, my franchise is the only one to beat the greatest ever Vince Lombardi, but nobody gives us credit because it wasn't in the Super Bowl era. Get out of here with that. All right.
Now, who are they going to lose against?
Look at Alf's looking at the scheduling.
This week against the Cardinals, they lose.
Nah.
Ooh.
Is it on the road?
You know what, though? You know what, though?
Yeah,
Jordan
it's in Arizona.
Hold on. Jordan Mailata is out. Our other starting guard might be out. Who knows what's happening with Darius Slay? He did have an air cast on his arm. Yeah, who knows, man? You're right.
But the thing is that after that one, they're winning.
We got Dallas.
They're winning 5 in a row.
We got Dallas, Houston, Pittsburgh.
So there will be 9-1.
It's not my fault that Houston.
How do you have Houston and Pittsburgh? Oh yeah, I guess you can now with the weird.
So they will be 9-1 when they get their second loss against the Packers. So yeah, Eagles are going to put up a number. Eagles are going to put up a number.
Alf, it took Aaron Rodgers a full game.
Yeah, to beat the third string quarterback.
To beat a third string quarterback
in New
Yeah, but he remembered
at home.
Yeah, but he remembered he was Aaron Rodgers in the second half. Like he remembered he was Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know, man.
I think the Packers are way overrated compared to
where
they've been.
Have you seen Russell Wilson in that offense? No more Javonte Williams, even though they weren't really doing anything to begin with him.
Yeah, they weren't.
Bro, Paul Hackett is out of there. He probably wouldn't even survive the season.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like, come on. Like I really feel bad for Russ, but this is what he signed off of, right? This is what he wanted. You can't tell me he did it. So, hey.
I have the Eagles.
Geno Smith is proving him wrong right now. There you go.
I have the Eagles 14-3.
Yeah, but I want to win
a number, man.
I don't want to get to 14-3 and lose in the divisional. I don't want to do that.
Dude, the NFC blows, man. Like I like to get the NFL. I like the NFL to move the Dolphins out to the NFC, man.
Yeah, there we go. Playoffs every year, baby.
We were supposed to be in the South, but that's Wayne Huizinga's fault. We weren't supposed to stay in the East when they realigned, but he said, "Oh, we have to be in the East so we can play against Tom Brady for 22 years." Thanks a lot.
The Dolphins, the Eagles,
Blockbuster.
the Jets, the Dolphins, Eagles, Jets, and the Patriots. And then the Bills, since they're more out towards the very, what is it, Eastern New York, but they're very towards Canada, just put them in the Central. That would have been interesting or something like that.
Nice.
No, what the NFL should do, and they won't do it until they have expansion, is to have regional divisions. That's it. Like there should be a division that has Miami
for hockey off.
Yeah, think about it. Think about how much fun this would be if the Dolphins division was
The Jags,
Tampa Bay,
the Bucks,
Tampa
the
Bay.
Panthers,
and Atlanta.
And Atlanta. Oh wow,
Atlanta.
The
Wow,
trash
that would be
talk,
so
though,
weird.
the trash talk though will be intense, bro.
No,
'cause
and
we're
think
all
about
the
it.
same
All the
area.
fans could drive to each other's games.
Correct.
Wow,
Think
that's
about it. If you're a
And
Dolphin
then you have
fan,
the Northeast, the Jets, the Giants, the Eagles, the Redskins, Jesus Christ, the Commanders.
That's what they were
Racist.
called,
No, I'm just
man.
kidding.
I'm sorry. You know, left
Like
hand up for a week.
nobody's gonna get on board with the Commanders. Okay, they're
not
probably still
commanding
calling them the
anything right
football
now.
team.
Listen, I told Commander fans about Carson Wentz. Oh, but he has a better wide receiver drill than he's ever had in his career. Yeah, but you still got to block for the guy. And now what? What's the excuse? He holds on to the football too long. Can you blame the guy?
yeah.
By the way,
think
Cooper
about how
Rush
much
should
fun that would
start
be.
every single Dallas Cowboy game. That man has earned his stars. Cooper Rush.
he's
want
never
Dak-
lost.
You don't want Dak back in.
Yeah,
there.
you want it to face him when y'all play him. That's why.
Dak is 8-2 or something against us, bro. I hate that.
It changes. Hurts changes it this year, man.
Oh man.
All righty. All right. This has been fun. Ragging on Manny.
Thank you, I've always love you, bro. I love having you on. That's great.
All righty, guys. Thank you all so much for joining us. 5 on the Floor post game shows are there. Pulse of Fins Nation every Tuesday. Yard prep, final yard, all coming up. Make sure you watch it. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you all next time. PrizePicks.com. Liquid Death. Go get it. Bye bye.